So, as you may be aware, Warframe has a lot of like playstyles and builds. You've got skill nuking Warframes from primary weapon builds and stuff like that. But there is one particular build that I've been getting quite addicted to, which is melee influence. Now, melee influence was added like what in the Whispers in the Walls update. I'm not familiar, but I do remember playing the game when this was added, but I never really like got into like trying it. But ever since coming back, I'm probably gonna be saying that a lot, even though I've been playing for 2 weeks now. But regardless, ever since coming back, I've been trying this melee influence build, and it's it's disgusting regardless. So as you can see here, melee influence is a melee arcane. On melee electricity status, 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to apply to enemies within 20 meters. So it basically gives your melee like AoE, which is pretty nasty. So with this particular build, we are going to be using the Okina Prime or Okina Incarnon specifically. Basically, this is the build spinning needle for your stance. I actually prefer the Gnashing Payara. It's a personal preference, but I just couldn't be bothered to like reform everything. 10 Okai, Mentor's Legacy. If you have better ones, use that. I prefer this because this is all I have. Galvanized Steel for critical chance and critical damage. Condition Overload for more melee damage per status type affecting the target. Volcanic Edge and Vicious Frost, so we can have Blast. Now, I have heard that gas is good as well if you're building melee influence, but I just prefer blast because I don't know, it's just cool. Smite mods, obviously. If you don't want this, you can use whatever you want. Weeping Wounds for status chance per combo multiplier. Prime Pressure Point, melee damage. Galvanized Elementalist, one of the newest galvanized mods on which was added in the previous patch, or the current patch rather, Koumei and the 5 Fates, which gives us status damage and more status chance per melee kill. And the star of the show will be Volt. So for the aura, I'm using Steel Charge. You can use Corrosive Projection for that negative armor, but again, this is the polarity that I have. This is what I'm sticking with. Power Drift, if you want Prime Sure Footage, sure, go ahead. Adaptation, if you don't want adaptation, Rolling Guard is a good fit as well. Precision Intensify, Narrow-Minded for ability duration. For this build, we are not building for range and efficiency, so those two is out of the window. My main survivability will be shield recharging, so Vigilante Vigor and Fast Deflection. Blind Rage for ability strength, and Prime Continuity, obviously. So in order to use melee influence, we will need electric on our melee weapons. So we will be using Shock Trooper, the Augment. So that solves the problem. For Volt's ability, I saw someone using Wrathful Advance for the melee critical chance. And so far, it's actually pretty good. Because I didn't know that if you go beyond the 300, you can get like super red crits. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but it has like an exclamation point or something, so it's fine. It's fun, I guess. So another excuse for me to just keep playing. We're just gonna go and see. So we're just gonna go into Circulus and then test this out, or just play rather, just so I can show you. It's also an excuse for me to just, you know, keep playing the game. Activate that.
Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support.
Activate Shock Trooper, speed, and yeah, just blast everything. Oh, Jesus Christ. You just blast everything. Now, even without combo multiplier, as long as you have that Wrathful Advance, like, up, you're already guaranteed those super, or not guaranteed, those super red crits. Now, my one issue with the build is, like, the short duration of Volt's second, which is the speed, and the Wrathful Advance. So you do have to keep recasting them from time to time. But overall, is melee influence is just a very, very disgusting build that I've been enjoying for quite some time. And I've been trying to like experiment on my own on like other frames that can utilize this build. And there is one that I've been having fun, which I will showcase maybe after 5 minutes of this. I'll probably showcase like an acolyte just so, you know, I can show it to you guys. Now, survivability wise, it's pretty hard for me to like die because of adaptation and the shield recharge. And because I have this shield with me as well. So it's a pretty relaxing build overall. High KPM as well. I think it's about like 150 or something. Probably even more if, you know, if you're good at playing the game. If you actually like do rotations and stuff like that. As you can see, big numbers as always. And with the Okina Incarnate, every kill you get, it summons like spectral daggers that'll seek out enemies. So it's just like additional kills on top of that, which is nice. And I'm really happy with this build because for the longest time, I've been wanting to use Volt because I just think he's an overall like good character. And Volt, I think Volt was the first frame that I chose when I started playing the game. But for the longest time, oh Jesus Christ. Whenever I look up like Volt builds or whenever I see a Volt build, it's usually the same thing, like, you know, the nuker type Volt, and I didn't really enjoy that playstyle. I believe it was the Necros thingy, Necros' skill to armor strip, and then you use Volt's fort ability to nuke the enemies. And I didn't really enjoy that type of playstyle for the most part. Oh, here we are. Malice, where the fuck are you? So yeah, it's good on acolytes as well. So you don't really need to worry about an acolyte. You don't need to bring like a separate weapon for an acolyte killer. So yeah, that's basically it. So we can move on to the other one that I've been working on so far, or rather I've just been enjoying it so far. All right, so the next one is Koumei, the newest Warframe, and is actually becoming a personal favorite of mine. Now, there have been a lot of discussion in the community and in like the creators out there whether or not Koumei is a bust or a win. But regardless, personally, I do like her playstyle. I like the whole decree thing and stuff like that. So I've been working on a melee build Koumei. It's mostly the same setup with the Okina Prime, but with this, we won't be using the blast element, so we will get rid of Volcanic Edge and Vicious Frost. We will be slotting Voltaic Strike so we can get electricity, and we will be using Blood Rush and Gladiator's Might for that melee critical chance. I am using Roar on Koumei. I replaced her fourth ability. You can't really see because of my camera. Okay, never mind. I did replace Roar, or rather, I replaced her fourth ability with Roar. Now, reason being is when I'm out on a survival mission, I tend to use her first more, the Kumihimo, and I don't really see myself using her fourth ability all that much. So I opted to replace her 4 with Roar. Now with the build, it's pretty simple. Steel Charge, Archon Continuity, and Archon Stretch. Blind Rage for ability strength. So for survivability, I did try to use Catalyzing Shields with the Shield Recharge tech. It's fine. You can survive, but it's just annoying. Like the blue flashing thingy when your shields break is just annoying. So I'm going to replace that with Primed Redirection, Vigilante Vigor with Fast Deflection, obviously, Precision Intensify for our Roar. Now this one is a free slot. Honestly, I could slot in Adaptation just to add more survivability. But again, I'm just too lazy to reform all this. Regardless, Molt Augmented for more ability strength and Arcane Strike, so we have attack speed on our melee weapons. For the primary and secondary, I am using the Arcaplasmor. Now, because of how Koumei works with like her decrees and all that, I do suggest bringing in like a very comfortable primary weapon that you can use to kill enemies fast, to do headshots and all that stuff. Okucore is just an insanely powerful secondary, so this is the one that I'm using. For her Archon Shards, I am using 2 energy maximum Archon Shards and 2 casting speeds. Focus School is Natamon just for that combo counter maintenance, so, you know, it is what it is. And Companion, we have Nautilus again with Cordon and, you know, Manifold Bond, Tenacious Bond, Shield Charger, Guardian, all that bells and whistles. So, once again, we're gonna go into another survival. Now, with this, I am going to try and stay a bit longer just so I can rack up some decrease. All right, so this will take some time. So I'll probably be here for maybe, I don't know, like 20 minutes? 20 minutes probably. I do enjoy survival. I tend to stay here a lot when I have nothing to do, when I'm not farming anything. I think the challenges that I hate the most is when you have to do headshots. Now that could be because of like the gun that I'm using, but for the most part, I really hate the headshot challenge. Everything else is fine with me. Even the wall latch thingy is fine. Okay. I do hope that I can get like the elemental ones, because I have heard someone mention, I was watching a video like a while ago. I heard someone mention that when you get like the elemental decrease, it'll combine that element with whatever element you modded your weapon with. So it kind of messes up like your whole build. But I remember when I was playing the other day, I got like the heat one. I forgot what it was called. I got like the heat one decree that gives your melee weapons status chance and heat damage. And when I was using that, or when I had that heat decree or heat damage decree, it didn't really mess up my melee influence for the most part. I was still like proccing melee influence. I was proccing electricity and heat separately. So maybe I misunderstood it. I'm not entirely sure how it works. If anyone's watching and you know it, let me know in the comments. But yeah. That was easy. Yeah, so Acolytes. God, I forgot their name. Forgot what they were called. Like, Acolytes is no issue as well, obviously. Melee influence is just a very strong build, so no problems with Acolytes. Now, whether or not Koumei is like a good addition to the roster, I do enjoy her playstyle a lot because it does force me, like her whole kit forces me to become more active when I'm playing because of like the whole decree system and stuff like that, and because I'm not really tanky, so I have to be like mindful of like what's happening on the screen and stuff like that. And the whole decree is just exciting for me, at least for me, right? Now, that's not to say I don't have any complaints with her. Obviously, I have a lot of complaints with her entire kit. Especially the Omamori. I feel like they could have done better with how the Omamori or her third skill works. Now, here's one thing that I don't like about the decree thingy is when you what do you call this? When you decline a challenge, it'll still go on the full cooldown. I honestly hope that they would change it, and that when you decline a challenge, you'll reduce the cooldown by half. I mean, that's just me. Hello, Violence. How are you doing, Violence? God, I remember when Violence was such a scary, scary figure for me because of his silence. Now it's just fodder enemies at this point. Now, normally I don't really care like what type of decree I get. Because just on like a baseline level, this build does perform relatively okay. I mean, obviously, there's much better choices like the Vault one, but it still works for the most part, and the decree system is fun to play around with. Like the whole Gamba thingy. Yeah, so whether or not you like Koumei or whether or not you like the melee influence build, I have been enjoying it for the most part. And it's just really fun to play it. I think melee builds are my favorite so far in the game. But regardless, if you have a particular favorite build that you enjoy very, very much, I would love to see it down in the comments below. You know, let me know what builds you're running, what type of playstyle you're running. And that's about it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and maybe subscribe if you want to like support the channel or whatever. If you want to see more Koumei, probably. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. GG's.